Hey guys, and welcome to this very up-close and personal edition of the weekly pickups. My family is currently asleep at the moment, and they're right in the next room, so I got to keep it down a bit tonight. But we got some good pickups this week, so some pretty cool stuff. So I thought let's get to it. Let's show it off. And also we'll have the editing back in this week, so the prices should flash up and we'll keep a running total. So yeah, first off, a couple of things I got from AceBen, and they're not all here. I think I've dropped one somewhere, but I'll find that in a minute. But we have some DS games, some 3DS games. First up, we have Pokemon White 2. I don't have any of the Gen 5 sequels, so this is very nice. Unfortunately, while checking some stuff where to put this, I found out that I've actually lost my copy of Black, which is annoying because that's the one I was actually playing and it had the shiny Sinnoh legendaries on it, so that's unfortunate. But yeah, so here we have White 2, and this was $6. So very cool find for a Pokemon game that cheap. Any Pokemon game that cheap is good. Now continuing on with DS, we have 3DS. Luigi's Mansion, not 24, but this was $8. This is Luigi's Mansion 2 on 3DS. Never played Luigi's Mansion, but I needed more games for my 3DS. I didn't have too many, so this is a great little find, and it was $8. So that brings us up to 14, and to add another 8 to bring that up to 22, we have Monster Hunter Generations, again from AceBen, which is a pawn shop if you don't know. I've never really played Monster Hunter. I've played a tiny bit of this so far. I did like the first mission. It seems pretty cool. And what I like is that this is one of the later ones, so it has the proper control scheme for my new 3DS, which I have somewhere here, new 3DS XL. So yeah, $8. That brought us to 22. And I had the chip in front of me here somewhere. Maybe it's bounced onto the bed. I shall just quickly check. Oh yes, here it is. I got myself a copy of Mario Kart 7. I've wanted this game for so damn long. Ever since, maybe 3 months. But yeah, this is a game that made me and ah about buying a 3DS for so long. And in fact, if they'd had a bundle of this with the new 3DS XL instead of just the 2DS, I probably would have bought that bundle for like whatever it was, would have been $350. Every time I asked about this game and consoles, I was told by the EB Game cashier, the Game Traders cashier, most people don't really use the 3D, so maybe you're better off just getting the new 2DS XL. And I have not turned the 3D off barely off since getting my new 3DS. Yeah, it does wear down my eyes a little bit, but I've never felt that after an extended session that it's been particularly bothersome, and it adds so much more to the look of each of this game. So I love the 3D. Very glad I got a 3DS, especially for this game, because it is brilliant 3D. But on top of that, so that brings us up to 30, because this was $8 again. But on top of that, I also bought a case for it, because this came without a case. And then I quickly Googled on eBay, and someone was selling a case and manual in good condition for $6. So that's on its way. And so that brings us up to 36 for the week. Now these next two games I'm going to call together as costing $4 because of the trading credit that I got. I traded in a bunch of memory cards and a copy of Wrath of Cortex that I bought earlier in the week for PS2 for quite a substantial amount of credit at CEX this week. And I got two games. The first game I got was The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, Wallace and Gromit. Big Wallace and Gromit fan. So I want to get... I believe there's another Wallace and Gromit game called Project Zoo. No idea how good it is. It was published by Konami, but it was made by Frontier, whoever they are. I don't know anything about them, but I don't know if it's supposed to be a good game or not, but it's Wallace and Gromit, and I'm sure that the humor should be good enough. And also something that really cracked the cashier up when I was buying this game is that the label, character limit, means that this is, if it will focus, Wallace and Gromit Curse of the Were-Rabbi. So that's it's a bit of a rib tickler for you. And next we have Zack and Wiki on Wii. I don't really know anything about this game. I think I've seen a Zero Punctuation review on it, but that was ages ago, so I don't actually know if this is a particularly good buy or not at about $2. So I think we're up to 30 plus 6, so we're at 36 plus 4. So we've made it up to 40. So I don't know if this is a particularly good buy at $2. It probably is, that's past the screw up point. Tell me how good it is in the comments. There's one commenter, forget your name. Like, you know who you are, but you always comment telling me your opinions on my find, which is greatly appreciated. I do like reading all of your comments. And next, we have some cash converter games for $3. We got Reckless, the Yakuza missions. So this is $3. It's not related to the Yakuza series, I don't think. I've never played a Reckless game. Don't really know that much about it, but it's got a cool cover, and I've been wanting to get it for a while. And the other game I got from Cash Converters was Revenge of the Flying Dutchman. I did say that I had collected all the SpongeBob games last time, but in fact I had not. I did not realize I never picked this one up, because it wasn't regarded as particularly good, and at the time I wasn't finding it for cheaper than $6 or maybe $4, so I couldn't really be bothered. But this time I found it at $3. And these two games are actually a bit of a saved from scrap story, because I was at my at the Cash Converters, and these were in a pile of games marked as scratched. So they were, I assume, going to be disposed of. But I was like, oh, no, I'll take a little look at them. And really, these games are not badly scratched at all. I have seen far worse games sold for full price. So these were not very bad at all. In fact, I'll just quickly. I'm just look at this SpongeBob now. I mean, we've got a bit of ringing, which can be a problem, but it's very light. You barely notice it. But also, SpongeBob Flying Dutchman has a really cool disc. So yeah, I like that. So yeah, I saved these two from scrap, which I always like doing, as well as a copy of so that was 6, so that brought us to, whoa, it's all falling apart. So that brought us to $46 in total for this week. But that is not going to be counted as the price paid, because I have sold another game that I sold from scrap, Simpsons Hit and Run, from Simpsons Hit and Run from for the Xbox, that's it. And I've also sold some other stuff, I think, so that'll all be on the screen now. I'll double check, and that will give you the final price for this week, which is quite low for all those games. So, oh no, there's one more thing, bear with me. Now, this was $4. I did mention this last week, but it is the, I'll see if I can get it all in frame, the Top Gun Fox 2 Pro joystick for PS2. So this is a PS2 flight stick. It's got rumble, it's got adjustable resistance on the bottom there, supposedly analog throttle, and digital and analog buttons all over it. Absolutely full complement of buttons. Now, the reason why I didn't include this in last week is because I was under the impression that this did not work. And in fact, until very recently I thought it did not work. Basically, on the games I tested, including Top Gun, Ace Combat, and another number of other flying games, Energy Air Force, it would register a push forward on the stick. It would register a push left on the stick. But it would not register, it would not register a pull back on the stick or a right on the stick. And I even plugged it in through a USB adapter and brought up the old HTML5 gamepad tester, brilliant little tool, a little free tool on the internet, and it wasn't registering those inputs. And so I tried it on some PS1 games, and it didn't work at first until I popped in good old Xenocracy. If anybody's seen my review of Xenocracy, brilliant little game. Some don't think so, I do. But yeah, I popped Xenocracy in, and anyone who's played Xenocracy knows that that game starts with a bit where you input your name with a cursor instead of moving the letters. And it was working. It was working in all 4 dimensions. It was a bit crackly. Potentiometers might need to clean. I don't know if you even can in this model. I've opened it up. It doesn't seem particularly possible. But yeah, and it was registering it moderately fine. And so I start playing, and yeah, I've got full range of movement. I can, if I want to, there's a little switch down here where you can lock off whether you get rudder control or not. And yeah, everything's working fine. And then I go to pop it in the PS2 games that didn't work before, and they work fine now. Popping it into the HTML5 gamepad tester, still not getting full range of motion on the pullback on the stick. But yeah, for $4 on top of everything I said before, it's a pretty dang good buy, I'd say. I'm not particularly used to Flight Stick. Yep, don't know if I'll end up keeping it. Might end up replacing my Gen X 500 stick for PC use, but I generally use a gamepad for flying games. It's what I'm used to, so that's what I use. But yeah, $4, not a bad buy at all. And ladies and gentlemen, I've got to say, next week is going to be pretty exciting. Not only do I already have a game, a nice little game waiting for me at the post office for me to pick up to show you guys. I'll probably be grabbing that on Monday or Tuesday. So that'll be quite nice. But also, if my calculations are correct, then I should be receiving a buttload of games on the Thursday. Basically, what has happened, there's a YouTuber named Pixels Limited. A lot of you may know him as he shouted me out last year, which was very nice of him, and got me a couple subscribers. So yeah, very nice of him. And he was having a sale late last year to help support a friend of his who'd come on some hard times. And I decided, okay, I'll buy a couple games. The prices he was offering was very reasonable. Very reasonable in some cases, and I didn't get everything I wanted off him. Some people sniped some stuff first, but I did get quite a little extra stuff, and he did a real big favor to me. He lived near the CEX, like in England, his CEX, and he was willing to pick up a bunch of games for me if I paid him money, which I did, and I sent him the money, and it looks like, unfortunately, he's chosen the wrong kind of shipping, because it still hasn't arrived for me yet all these months later. However, punching it into a shipping time calculator based on when he said he sent them off on Twitter, it should be arriving, because it said it was a maximum time of 3 months, and so it should be arriving on the 21st of March, which is this Thursday. And I got a lot of cool stuff off him, so I'm really looking forward to that arriving. If it doesn't arrive then basically I've lost about $70, because I can't get hold of him on Twitter. I mentioned it to him a while back, but yeah, I can't get hold of him on Twitter. He's been radio silent since January 19th, and he didn't respond to me on January 19th. He hasn't done anything on his YouTube channel. I don't know if there are any YouTubers who know him personally that I can reach out to, but yeah, so yeah, if you don't want to be exposed, Pixels Limited, you're back on Twitter, but I don't know, it's all good, like, you know, it went to a good cause and everything, but still like my games. But anyway, so yeah, potential exciting stuff next week. Do follow me on Twitter if you want to find out if I received any big old box of games from England. So yeah, follow me on Twitter. Thank you to my Patreon supporters. The first payment came through a couple weeks ago. I don't know if I mentioned it, I might not have. A full $14. This is very nice, but no, that's actually it's really nice of those two guys to give me that Patreon. I mean, it's like for one guy, he's like, because of fees it goes down, but he, like, there's one guy on there, $15 to me, and it's like, but I have open on my screen as I speak to you my next Yu-Gi-Oh review. A lot of flags on there, so a lot of stuff to fix. But that should be done soon. And the next Keith Shizuo crossover episode will be out very, very soon, peoples. Very, very soon. It's being finished up editing as I speak by Racky Roo. Please check it out. There should be a trailer coming up on this channel very soon, and there should be a sneak peek on the Patreon very soon. So exciting stuff is coming. I know it's been a bit of a drought, and I know it's been like this for 11 weeks, but I'm getting there, guys. I'm getting there. But yeah, follow me on Twitter. I have a Patreon. Send me pics on Twitter of your video game finds this week, and I will feature them in an episode. And yeah, I will see you guys next time.